topic is the career opportunities in electric vehicle industry. We know, all of us know that now there is a transformation of energy, transformation of mobility, and that transformation which being happening in the global, that is huge. So this is the right kind of opportunity to shift our gear, to transform ourselves and to create an opportunity into the sector where the new sector is being just established. So this is a time to set up our gears, to set up our knowledge, skills, and do that. So today I'm going to talk about how to make our career into a EV industry. Maybe it's a technical person, it is for non-technical persons also, because a lot of opportunities which are coming into the picture, right from the engineering, non-engineering, and other backgrounds. So I will be talking about these things today so that we can at least have little bit understanding about the opportunity which is going to have in India. So definitely today's agenda, which we want to talk about, is one is engineering opportunities, that because no doubt that because of the new shift of the technology, electric vehicles, the new industry vehicle setup has been done. And if you talk about major of the companies, they are shifting towards the ICE vehicle, that means the petrol and the diesel vehicles, to the electric vehicles. Second is we will talk about how engineering student can start in a career, in an EV industry. What are the skills which is being involved? Then we will talk about how to make a shift. The people who are already there into the ICE vehicles, how they can shift towards this industry, because we need to keep updated on our skills, on our tools and knowledge. So how to keep that shift from this industry to another industry, we'll talk about that. And moving forward, we'll also talk about that how you can keep your skills as a successful career in EV industry. So I think these are the main topics we will touch upon in terms of going for the presentations. So let's start with the presentation where we will talking about the opportunities. So according to the data, you can see till 2023, 9 million EV jobs opportunities we have already have in the EV industry. And you can see a lot of players which are emerged to cater a wider angle in terms of the EV battery manufacturing, EV vehicles manufacturing. So I want to start this whole conversation because this EV industry is not only a one type of industry, it's an infrastructure. There will be different components of it. We will be having jobs in maybe we can create our career in electric vehicles, manufacturing. We can create our, you can say career in charging infrastructure, in creating the infrastructure, batteries, research, and kind of infrastructure. So here we are not limited to our engineering background. There are a lot of other background which are also will take place in terms of sales, marketing, and other channels, even in terms of getting up the digital marketing or different kind of channels which will be needing. Not only the tier 1 jobs, already because of the infrastructure which is being created, you can see a lot of lower jobs which will be needing to cater that. We have a lot of retailing systems, a lot of, you can say the long retailing systems. Even in between that, you will be having a lot of jobs in terms of maintenance, in terms of service. So all this will cater a larger, wider angle. So today we have opportunity to transform ourselves to get that opportunity, because this is a shift and this is the right time to get into it, to get that opportunity the larger in terms of angle. So here you can see we already have a lot of all the players in terms of Tata Motors. You have a Mahindra, Hyundai, Ashok Leyland, Hero, and the other players which are already shifting towards the electric vehicle in place of ICE vehicles. Now the problem today is that this is a very new field. We don't know how to move forward, how to get into it, because there are some people who are trying to make career in terms of education wise. There are some segment of people who tries to make that they are already into some segment, they want to switch from that segment to the electric vehicle segment. So that is something which we see that this definitely a great opportunity for the today's generation, not only the young generation, it's all about who are already working. Then coming to the rise of electric vehicles. So here just I want to highlight that this is a time where the electric, and that means the gasoline vehicles numbers are being declining in terms of the sales. That clearly shows the market which is being evolving for the electric vehicles and the rise of electric vehicle which is happening in the whole world, even not in India, even the whole world. Here today we will not only talk about the Indian market, we will also explore how we can get opportunity outside the country, maybe the European countries, you can say American countries and other countries, that and how we can skill ourselves to get that position in terms of getting up the jobs in that sector. So I want to start that whole talk in terms of getting up the opportunity. So it's a very favorite saying from Abraham Lincoln that if I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I did spend 6 hours sharpening an axe. So let's suppose if we want to get something in terms of opportunity, definitely we have to skill ourselves. We have to create, we have to sharp our axe in terms of knowledge, skill, and other terms to get that situation in terms of to get the job, get that opportunity, because we need to develop that skills. So I think this is the right time to you just think about that, how we can shift from our previous segment in terms of whether it's an engineering student, non-engineering student, how we can develop skills to reach and to get the opportunity which are being created by the electric vehicle, especially in the market. So here you can see that how student get started with the electric vehicles. The first question is that what is the entry, how I can get the entry in terms of electric vehicle, what is the area where I can go, how I can think about that, where, what is the domain which I can go. So in terms of that, definitely you can see that there are a lot of courses which is being involved into that. For the engineering student, there are a lot of courses for existing players which is being already floated. You can say there are a lot of courses which you can go online free. So I think you can start with to your interest, whether you, I think going forward we'll discuss about what are the you can say domains, what are the components of this whole EV ecosystem where you can put yourselves to get that opportunity. So I think broadly, if you see in terms of shift of ICE vehicles, so I think engineers who are already in the part of industry have a useful and market mature skill set. So how we can do it, because this is completely new field. And in terms of if I talk about the comparison between ICE vehicles and the electric vehicle, this is a complete different product. The existing product of ICE is something related to mechanical sector, something more related to maybe electronics sector. But if you talk about the electric vehicles, even mechanical engineer need to shift towards the you can say it's called mechatronics. That means that it will be mixed of electronics and mechanical in terms of to get that opportunity, because maximum of the knowledge and skill which you will be needing, that will be especially for the you can say the mechatronics. That means the capabilities to have understanding of mechanics as well as the other sectors. So I think that is something which is a huge difference between the jobs which were created at this point of time in terms of mechanical, which were purely mechanical or other stuffs. But now here it comes to the where we will be talking about the, you can say the computer science, the electronics, and the other sector which is being involved to get that whole infrastructure in terms of getting at the opportunity. So here we will talk about that how I can skill myself to have a successful career in the EV industry. So there are multiple resources where we can start it. So there are a lot of courses in terms of which we call it online courses. So I think before understanding, we should have at least a basic understanding that what is the electric vehicle, what are the domains which is there inside the electric vehicles in terms of components. So I think we can go for the online courses to study at least the basics, so that we can understand where our interest can fit for, where our skills can fit for. So that is something I think that the primary level which we need to understand in terms of the giving up the skills. In terms of getting up the online courses, there are some online courses I will also provide. Maybe I will provide my link, and if anyone wants to get that link, so there are a lot of free links which is available on the internet. The Udemy is providing it, Coursera is providing it. There are other certain online courses platforms where you can go through and you can just understand. And if there are some courses where you have to only give the minimal fees, 500, 600 rupees per course, at least to understand the whole ecosystem. Second is that we need to also understand what are the shift toward the, you can say the software, whether it's a technical or non-technical in terms of utilization of this industry. Because this industry is new, so all the technology, all the processes, all the SOPs that are being built in a new infrastructure and new technology. So we need to also aware about the tools, the structure which is being used to build this technology, because in terms of production, in terms of marketing, in terms of sourcing, in terms of supply chain, in terms of getting up the maintenance or the service. Now the industry is upgrading mostly on the 4.0 stage, where we need to also skill and upgrade ourselves from the older versions to the newer versions of the platforms. And we need to also look about a lot of softwares which is being used to in particular automotive industry. Third is which I want to more focus, that is we need to also build our presence in the social media, especially on the LinkedIn platform, because I think LinkedIn platform will give you an understanding of your ecosystem, that how the ecosystem is going on. A lot of opportunities you will see in terms of job creation, that what kind of jobs the people are projecting in terms of, because it's not only the MNC company, there are a lot of startups which are immersed during 5 years, and they are now scaled up certain level, and they also want a lot of people to get in higher in terms of in this specialist sector. So for an example, if I give you a number, so out of the total Indian sales, 30 to 35% manufacturing is being done by the startups in the today's time. That is the number which you can see. So that means if we want to focus on the startups also, that is a good number to get that opportunity in terms of getting up the jobs or to fit into that industry. I think so in that perspective, we need to build a good profile on LinkedIn also. We need to keep updated on the LinkedIn, because a lot of information is floating on a daily wise in terms of the opportunities, in terms of the skill, in terms of the component which is being needed by the industry in that particular time. So I think that is also very much needed. The fourth point is live training sessions. So I think if you are aware or not, there are a lot of live training sessions like mycelium mobility. There are some other mobilities which have started live training sessions, especially in this sector, to provide Autobot is there. So there are, I think, 10 to 15 players in the country which have started live training sessions, and that is not having a high cost. It's a marginal cost you can do with that course, and you can have a hands-on experience of certain things to have a good experience in terms of getting up that skills to get that opportunity. Also in live training sessions, you will get to know the opportunities which is being created. You can create our own network with that environment where you are having that training session. So I think that is also important to get into this whole sector, especially in terms of getting up the skill set, in terms of getting up the opportunity. Now I want to get into the more technical part in terms of specifically. So here I want to just reflect in terms of that what is the kind of jobs which will be creating into the system, what is the domain. So you can see there are four segments. One is the scientific research, because this industry is so nascent stage. A lot of research is being happening onto this system, because you will see daily wise, you will see new type of battery, new types of charging infrastructure, new type of car, new type of vehicles are being released in the market. So to cater that, a lot of R&D specific jobs are being created. For this, a lot of companies have put a lot of infrastructure into this whole India. Even the foreign investments are being done in India, especially to create a larger R&D section. So I think this is a good opportunity for the person who are willing to go into the R&D sector, where I think maximum of the R&D sector, where there are two categories. One is the chemical engineers, because maximum of the R&D is being happening on the batteries. So battery specifically needs the chemical engineers and material science engineers to get into it. So I think these two are the good platform at this point of time to get into the research demand, because this is a very high demand at this point of time. I think if talk about myself, because we are also having a startup where we are daily looking for some people who can work with that particular segment. We find that there is a lack of you can say the skill set, the knowledge, specifically in this sector. So even we are training those people to get into that stage. Even we are targeting some of the people going here to abroad to have training from the other countries and then coming back to India, especially to do R&D in our sector. So I think this is something which is having a great focus, especially from the government side also, departments of science and technologies helping this in terms of research and development. So that is also one more sector where people can emphasize. Second part is the design and development, because once the research is being done, there are a lot of infrastructure which is being focused on design and development, because at this point of time, companies like Tata, Mahindra, even the other major OEMs, what they're trying to do is they are just testing their vehicles on the market. So there is a lot of gap in terms of the batteries, the vehicles, the charging infrastructure, and daily perspective. Every month you can see a lot of design and development is being seen by doing a lot of research. So you can see to cater the design and development sector, right now, if you want to see the skill set, you will be needing engineering skill set, chemical engineering set, software engineering set, and then industrial design skill set. In this perspective, you can see there are a lot of I think all the domains in terms of basically in terms of engineering section. So in terms of chemical engineers are being needed to in terms of battery side, electronics engineers and electrical engineers are being needed to build your electronics components of the car. Then you will be needing industrial engineers who can work on to transform this whole technology into the production state. Now a lot of material science engineers are being involved. So I want to little bit focus on the material science engineering, because from past 10 years, this field has been little bit subsidized because of the demand. But this is the era of materials. This is the era of the nanomaterials. So I think now there is an increase in demand of the material science engineers, because you can consider that petrol and diesel is equivalent to your material, right? Now material is a new fuel. So this has been opened a wider angles, wider space for the material science engineering students, as well as the people who are working this domain at a wider angle. And I think this will be the highest paying job, maybe not now, maybe 8 9 years ahead, because this is the thing which people are needing. Material science is the key which can lead to the sustainable and circular model of the system. So I think people can also focus on this material science engineering. Then definitely the mechanical engineers, there is one point which I want to say, especially for the mechanical engineering platform, that mechanical engineers right now, they need to shift from mechanical engineering to mechatronics engineering, because this product is completely electronic product. We need to, even mechanical engineers also are also needed to shift their gears to develop their skills on electronics and computer science a little bit. Then definitely we will be having a mechanical drafters, software developers, applications, and commercial and other type of engineering which we needing to scale up that business. Coming to the manufacturing side, because now a lot of companies, if you see right now, till 2030, 30 gigawatt, 150 gigawatt hour of the energy will be needing by the government to cater the electric vehicles demand, right? So to fulfill that, we need a lot of workforce, a lot of infrastructure to build in at the larger side. So in terms of manufacturing capabilities, you can see that maximum of the OEM, they are going to build their own plants in terms of generating the capabilities to produce more electric vehicles. In terms of, later we can discuss about the capabilities by Ola Electric, by Tata, by next even if we talk Mahindra and other companies, which are scaling up very large capabilities to produce these vehicles in the large number. So that will open a wider angle for the people in terms of getting up the opportunities. Then in terms of, you say, in terms of manufacturing, there will be a lot of other domains in terms of electrical, electrochemical engineers, engine and transmission, computer control, machine tool operators, and other industrial managers which will be needing to cater that. So I think we need to develop our skills, especially the people who are on the production floor, the people who are there in terms of production or the maintenance. They can also shift toward this industry, because that is something which is very new. But we need to also develop our capabilities in terms of getting up the electric vehicles capabilities. Now here we want to talk about especially the infrastructure that is very very large sector which will have, it is like a petrol pumps. So I want to more focus on the opportunities which is being created for developing the charging infrastructure, right? And that is the large, very large infrastructure which will be creating. This you can consider an ecosystem. So right now you can imagine that how many petrol pumps are there into that ecosystem in India to cater your fueling of your vehicles. Exactly same if you think that wider angle, this is having a very large infrastructure, a lot of domains which are opening into the sector in terms of maintaining the charging stations, power lines, establishing the grid connectivity. So for that we need a good knowledge skill set in terms of electrical power, line installation and maintenance. Even the people on demand, if we talk about, there are a lot of people which are getting hired in terms of power installers and repairs, the electrician, and getting into the softwares. So I think this will also add a lot of jobs into that system. Not only the jobs in this system, we can also create a lot of personal, you can say, businesses, small businesses, MSME businesses, to cater this business in terms of charging infrastructure, to provide charging network to these vehicles, especially 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, and 4-wheelers. So I think this is something which will take some time, but at least this will be the largest ecosystem in terms of if you compare with the petrol stations. So we need to focus on this also. A lot of players which are coming into the picture. So as of now, if we talk about India, there are around 100 plus companies which are specifically working on the charging infrastructure to build the charging stations and other type of infrastructure to charge your vehicles on the streets. And that is something which I also believe that in terms of replacing your petrol stations to your charging station, definitely government is playing a lot of part into it. I think there is already mandate that each petrol station should have at least one charging station into the system. So I think that is something which will be needing a new workforce, a new type of workforce which will be needing to cater that, because petrol filling station, you don't need much higher technical studies or the knowledge to get into it. But specifically, if we talk about the charging infrastructure, definitely you will be needing a tier 2 level of polytechnic level of diploma holders, where they will be handling the technicality of the charging station, which will be needing. And this will also open a wider angle in terms of creating our jobs in, in terms of, you can say, charging station infrastructure. Now, this is specifically for the students who are working into this, who are doing engineering, who are doing non-engineering. So I think they can start with the internships, because practical hands-on experience is very much needed in these type of operations, right? So my recommendation is that please go for some internship for 3 months, 4 months, join in a startup or a company, work there to understand their work culture, technicality, to understand their processes, machineries, as well as other aspects in terms of getting up the knowledge and getting up ready for the system. So I think internships plays a lot of role in getting up the up to date in terms of technology and usage of that technology in terms of handling that power. Second is the students who are in second year, third year. So I think they need to also work on some project basis kind of system where they can work on small, even the electronic engineer, electrical engineers, a lot of opportunity is being created to build your small products. For an example, if I tell you small, let's suppose I'm taking a e-rickshaw, right? E-rickshaw also needs a lot of small components on the DC-DC converter, even in terms of batteries, in terms of the other infrastructure to build in. So I think this is something which will give you an overview in terms of what is the skill set that companies will be needing. Also, not only the skill set for the jobs, there's a lot of opportunity for the entrepreneurship, because in this point of time, I believe that this is a new field, and entrepreneurship is having a lot of opportunities to cater a wider angle of supply into this whole ecosystem, because the competitors are less, and the initial competitor which are there, they're already in the IC vehicles. And think so a lot of opportunities also can be catered in terms of what we call building up your own startups, building up your own micro businesses, macro businesses, to fulfill a small components. So small manufacturing of components can also be done in India itself to create a wider angle of fulfill a supply chain demand of these players. Not only the component manufacturing right now in terms of electric vehicles, 70 to 80% of the total import is being done from other countries to fulfill the components assembly while manufacturing the vehicles. I think there's a good opportunity at this point of time to work on these small components to cater a supply chain of these players in domestic supply chain by giving up these components to these players. That is also having a good opportunity at this point of time to create a good supply chain all over in the domestic supply chain. And then I want to more talk about in terms of online courses. So if we go into the detail, there are a lot of online platforms like Coursera and other components. You can go there, you can select your own course, whether you want to go for the vehicle dynamics, you want to go for the design and fundamentals, you want to go for the accessories of the cars. Because right now you see that there is a lot of accessories, small shops which is there inside the country to fulfill the accessories of the existing vehicles. The same market will be also built for electric vehicle market to provide the accessories of particular the EV markets infrastructure. So I think that is also a good opportunity to step in at this point of time, so that you can build that large when this market will place at the wider angle. So in terms of, if you see in terms of the vehicle dynamics, this is something which is needed to India, because right now maximum of the technology which we are getting from outside the country. I think now it's time to learn from these players, getting up a small you can say internships, and then working into an environment where you have a lot of opportunity to get up to higher. You have a lot of opportunity to get the good place in terms of giving up the you can say giving up your maximum of the skill set to these players, so that they can help to build their operations, the large capabilities. Then definitely there is a charging and changing of the battery. So if I break this whole platform, so one platform is where you can say one platform is where building of vehicles is being done. Second is building of component is being done, like battery manufacturing and the other parts, motor manufacturing, you can say the steel manufacturing, even the components, small components are also being used, like DC converter is there, and the other electronic component which is being used to build the car. This is the third component. Fourth component is the charging supply chain. That means just charging infrastructure. And fifth component is the swapping of the batteries. So that is also adding one large scope to have a better understanding of this whole supply chain of the EV batteries. So I think there are a lot of platforms, a lot of components to step in on. It's a large ecosystem where people can develop their skills and fit into a particular component field. And then if we talk about, I want to more focus on the electric vehicle renewals. So the government right now is playing a lot of role in providing the incentives, in providing the, you can say, the schemes. So this is non-technical, just I want to talk about. There are certain domains where people can project themselves in policy building in terms of facilitating the policies of the government to the public. There are a lot of companies which will be needing, who just needed for the market research, who will be needing to just comply the compliances, especially in this field. So there are a lot of opportunities for the non-technical sector also to get into it in terms of compliances, in terms of policy building, in terms of scheme manufacturing, in terms of understanding the whole ecosystem, and then making a good, you can say, providing a good insights about how that can be built so that it can be taken to the technical field. So here we just, I want to talk about in terms of the overview of electric vehicles in India. Then in terms of, you see, vehicle dynamics, there is a lot of opportunity. Then third sector is the storage for the EVs. That is the battery field. Battery field is having a, you can say in the coming years, this will having a very large market, because India is going to having a hub of EV manufacturing as well as the battery manufacturing. So you can understand the opportunity and the scale of this EV is being happening. Maybe not now, maybe if you see 4 years later, the target of the government is, if you talk about till 2030, they want 30% transformation of the electric vehicles comparison to ICE vehicles. So you can see the scale and the, you can say, the volume which will come into the system in terms of the capability building of the companies, in terms of the production. Also, there is a good market in terms of battery charging and swapping, because a lot of businesses will be created in charging and swapping models like petrol stations. That is also a good opportunity. And then definitely there is a storage options which will be happening for the storage in terms of the energy, in terms of the solar energy. So that is also one component which can add the renewable energies. Here, I want to just little bit go through with the skill enhancement, that how that skill enhancement can be done, what are the things which you are needing to comply that. So I think if you talk about the ICE vehicles, so that was having some different skill sets in terms of design, in terms of development, manufacturing, maintenance, infrastructure, and the R&D. In this field, you need to have a different, updated with the different softwares like AutoCAD, the design architecture, you have SolidWorks, Unigraphics, CATIA, MATLAB. So these are the components where you need to learn more to get into this, because these are the basic softwares which you will be needing to work any kind of industry, especially in the EV industry. So I think this is the most important sector where if engineers want to build their career, I think they need to update it with these softwares, and they need to update it with their skill sets to use their software to a particular industrial scale. So that is something which we believe that can be done, and that people need to that need to be updated into these softwares, that at least the basics which we need to the industry. And this is something which is I want to talk about more on. Yes, on the companies, that is how I target these companies, because ultimately to get opportunity, you need the particular knowledge that what industry needs what, right? So that is something which I want to just tell you, that there are a lot of industries which are creating their infrastructure capabilities in production, and daily wise you need to keep updated onto the production scale, because the hiring is being just open. If you see today's industry, I think any industry which is there in electric vehicles, they are into the hiring mode, right? But we are not able to understand what profile we need to build. So I think we need to structureize, even in terms of the Tata Motors, Olectra, even there's a startup which is Olectra, which is into the buses. If you see, maximum of the buses are running with Olectra. This is a new company. Even in terms of Ether is there, Ola is getting into this, which is building the India's largest two-wheeler manufacturing platform. So I think I want to just say that we need to just generate this particular skill which we have an interest, and just get updated onto the systems by taking the online courses, trainings, and kind of structure. And just we need to join this structure at the lower level. If you are not getting the higher level, just join the lower level so that the opportunity can be created for the higher level. So that is something which I believe that that is the good infrastructure and good opportunity for creating a future in terms of the jobs, in terms of the career. So that is something from my point. So I think now I will little bit talk about the industry which is beyond electric mobility. So that is the recycling field. because cell manufacturing is one field, then vehicle manufacturing is one field. The third is the recycling of the lithium and batteries. So especially the company like ours, the Batex Energies, we are into the lithium and battery manufacturing. Be it battery recycling, we extract the material like lithium, cobalt, manganese, which is being inside the cells. And our idea is to build the batteries from this recovered material to fulfill the supply chain gap of electric vehicles, which are coming into the picture, because right now we import 100% lithium from China or the other countries. Here we want to make it less dependence on other countries by extracting these materials, which is called urban mining. So I think this is also not only the Batex, there are other players also which are coming into the future to create more jobs, especially in the nanomaterials. So I think nanomaterials, chemical engineering is also having a good scope at this point of time, especially in auto sector, to give their career as a good great growth rate. So thank you all. I am open to questions and answers for everyone. Any questions, I will love to have answered. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Vikrant, for that very wonderful presentation. And now, like Sir said, we're in the Q&A round, so all of you can start asking questions in the chat box, and we'll take them up now. Meanwhile, Mr. Vikrant, I'd like you to share a little about your background and how you got involved in the EV industry space.
Right. So, especially if you talk about, I have passed my engineering in 2019. I am a mechanical engineer. I have done my engineering from beyond Punjab University. And from there, in the college itself, I and my founder, Mr. Utkarsh, so we do have an idea that why these cells are not being built in India. So when we were in college, the problem was that we were building an electric car. So when we were building the electric car, it was a problem that we need to import that battery from outside the country. We believe that why it is not manufactured in India. What is the problem that we are not capable of building these batteries? And then when we were doing our engineering, we too has realized that there is something which we don't have, that is called lithium. You need lithium, cobalt, nickel, manganese to build these batteries. So we started this startup in the college itself, and now stepping up outside. And now we are building the India's largest recycling capabilities. So I am the CTO and my partner Utkarsh. So we too have started this company in 2020, especially to cater the recycling of these batteries. Today, also we are into the battery manufacturing field. We are also manufacturing the batteries for automotive, especially the four-wheelers, two-wheelers, and two-wheelers, and especially for three-wheelers. So that is something which we were doing the businesses in 2020. Now we are completely shifted towards the recycling business, because I think India needs more attention towards the recovery of these materials, because these materials are limited in quantity. And also these materials are very hazardous in landfills when you are what we call throw your phones. This phone contains lithium, cobalt, and other materials which are very valuable. So our idea is to take all the electric vehicle battery which will be going for scrap. When using of these batteries, we are recycling these batteries, and we are rebuilding these batteries out of again by the recovered material. So that is our system which we are doing. So right now, I think we are the largest capacities in India in terms of producing these recycling these batteries in India. Right now we are processing around 200 metric tons of the total e-waste, even especially the lithium and batteries, to recover your critical materials like lithium, cobalt, and other materials, in terms of to cater a wider angle, because India needs these materials. And that's why the electric vehicle cost is very high, because the material which is being used to build a battery, so 40 to 50% cost of the e-vehicle is of, you can say, electric vehicle or battery itself. So you can say 50 out of, if the car value is 16 lakhs rupees, 8 to 9 lakh cost is the only battery. And because of these materials we need to import, we are interdependent with the China and other countries. Our idea is to produce these materials in India by recycling this, and to give this material to a battery manufacturer, so that the battery manufacturing of these electric cars can be made, so that the viability of electric cars can be done at a very large scale, because India is a country where the costing need to be low, right? So our idea is to give this material to this industry, so that the costing of that EV car or the two-wheeler, three-wheeler can be reduced, so that it can make affordability in terms of usage of these vehicles. So that is something which we are catering in the country. And I think right now there is a need of recycling, because that is an important factor to fulfill the carbon footprint which we are having right now. We want to reduce carbon footprint, because EV vehicles, we say that it is greener, right? But somehow we have to make it greener by utilizing these materials again and again. So that is something which we are catering, and we are solving that problem for India to provide that whole system, especially in terms of material recovery.
Thank you for your answer, sir. Just a follow-up question here. You mentioned how 16 lakh priced vehicle, half of it, more than half is spent on batteries. So how soon do you think we can solve this problem and, be able to buy EV vehicles at an affordable cost?
See, at this point of time, because India don't have an infrastructure to build the battery which are there in our system. So all the cells which are being used in electric cars are manufactured by different countries, right? We're importing it. So I think it will take at least 4 to 5 years to at least build our infrastructure to reduce the cost at a particular scale, because new technologies, new environment, new enhancement is being done on monthly wise to build that technology so that it can be viable for the common man, especially in terms of EV vehicles. So I think it will take some time to develop it, because the infrastructure is not being there in India. That is already government is playing a lot of role to building it. So I think it will take at least 4 to 5 years to reach that scale so that we can have a mass adoption of electric vehicles.
All right, sir. So we have a question from the audience. What is the status of anode and cathode material of battery in India?
Yeah. So in terms of anode and cathode materials, just I want to explain a little bit of how battery works. So in lithium and battery, you have two things. One is your anode, one is your cathode. So you can say that you have one office, you have one home, right? So you can say that in between you have some hindrance. So when you charge your battery, so there are lithium, cobalt, nickel, manganese which are attached to your cathode material, which will release a lithium, right? And then cathode, you have a graphite structure to move lithium from one place to another place. Now the problem is that the cathode which is being manufactured or utilized in India, we don't have a capability to build it. I think it will take, that's why I was saying that it will take at least 4 to 5 years to build your cathode, because now the problem is that you have a lot of cathode chemistries like lithium cobalt oxide, lithium nickel oxide, lithium ferrophosphate, lithium cobalt aluminum oxide. And the problem is that China was only building it and they have the technology to build it. Second is we don't have a lithium, right? To build cathode, you need a lithium to you can say to manufacture it. So definitely you are going to import a lithium from different countries to build it. So there are some countries, there are some companies we have just started their research and development to build cathode part, especially in terms of lithium and batteries. For anode part, the problem is that the graphite, because maximally 90% of the battery use graphite in their anodes, right? So the type of graphite which is being used inside this battery is CSPG graphite. That is also which is 90% or maybe more than 90% is being manufactured by the China in the whole global world to make a supply chain gap. So it is also taking some time because we don't have infrastructure, right? To test the material, you will be needing good capabilities of testing laboratories. You will be needing good R&D setup. You will be needing to work on the nanoscience. This is complete a nanoscience field, and it will take a lot of time to build it. But I think very soon, within 3 to 4 years, we will see that these development is also happening in India, because Ola Electric kind of companies, the Namaraja and C4B, Rajesh Spokes are just going to start the cell manufacturing. Definitely, the people are working constantly to build this whole cathode and anode in India. So that is something which is happening. I think very soon, supply chain gap for the Indian battery manufacturing system.
Thank you, sir. So now we'll move on to the next question. What, according to you, are some of the most promising careers in this sector?
So I think there are 4 sectors where the careers can be made at the wider angle. One is the production, because you will be needing a lot of production engineers to build the capabilities which are there, which are generating in these systems. And where you will be needing a lot of production. You have production engineers, you have maintenance engineers. So in terms of production profile, you will be needing a lot of players. So for that, you need to develop your skills in terms of getting up ready for the production of these tests, in terms of production and planning kind of systems. You will be updated for the software which is being used to use in terms of production category. Second is, which is most important at this point of time, that is the electronics engineers, electrical and electronics engineers. So they will be also playing a lot of role in building that, because 90% of this vehicle and this ecosystem is surrounded by electronics, right? So even right now, if you see a petrol station, you are going to fill your vehicle by petrol. Any normal man can fulfill that, right? But for the charging infrastructure, you will be needing certain skill sets to make your system right in terms of filling up your charge from one vehicle to another vehicle, because this is completely technology driven platform, and it is something which is non-tangible, right? Petrol you can see, but this charge you cannot live on technical aspect. So I think this is also a second field which you will be needing. Third is, which I want to talk about, which is most important thing in this career, is that you have a good opportunity in terms of the research and development. Right now, every company is open for research and development profile to get your engineers, because this is a very nascent stage. Every company now has opened their R&D centers to develop a good technology into the sector. So I think research and development will be a third requirement for these companies to fulfill the supply chain gap. And the fourth is, which is most important, which I talk about, that is the service engineers. I think at this point of time, if any e-vehicles got, having some problem or troubleshooting, there is no service engineers which is being, or locally, I think they have to send from the company to do it. I think local service engineers will also be needing, with a lot of players, a lot of infrastructure to get into this, because electric vehicles are a system which is software driven, a machine. You will be needing definitely a large network of service engineers to cater a wider angle of service in terms of vehicle manufacturing, either it's a battery, the vehicle, or any accessories. So I think that is the fourth sector, which I believe that this is having a larger segment where the opportunities will be created huge, and that's where we need to develop our capabilities to cater that.
Thank you, Mr. Vikrams. So the next question is, what advice would you give to someone who is interested in pursuing a career in this space but doesn't have a background in engineering or related fields?
Right. So in this, there are some, it doesn't matter whether you are an engineering student or no, you are not an engineering student. In today's world, you have to just generate the skills, right? You can see that a lot of mechanical engineers are shifting toward the computer science engineering or the coding system. So I believe that there is something which is, you don't need that I need some background to do it. You need a complete understanding and interest to fulfill that. So for an example, if I want to give you one example, if you want to get a job in a EV industry, especially in production, or you want to get a job in R&D, you need to join us. In the today's time, we don't need degrees, we need skill sets, a good skill sets to develop it, right? In terms of sales, in terms of market research, in terms of digital marketing, in terms of having a generation of PR kind of thing. So a lot of companies which are already needing non-technical systems also to cater it, right? So that is even in terms of awareness of giving awareness of electric vehicles, giving awareness how to utilize the electric vehicles, getting the awareness that how to use your chargers, right? So there are very large component section wise where there is something which is needed as awareness, and this awareness will also be needing a lot of people to do it. The campaigns and kind of stuffs which you will be needing in terms of SOPs, how to structureize, a lot of service engineering in terms of non-technical background. So I think the first step is to have something in terms of getting up the online courses. You have to go for at least the basic understanding that what are the modules which are being involved into the online courses, and then also attend some online, you can say offline, or trainings, live session trainings, because that gives you a environment that how people are working. You will have some connections, right? What kind of people are doing what. You will be understanding that, okay, my surrounding who was there, you will connect with them, he will tell you something that this thing you can do. So I think awareness towards this, online or training sessions, the live training sessions are very required to attend it, because that will give you an emphasization exposure of different fields, and it will match your interest and with your capabilities which you can do. And in that perspective, you can build yourself and you can apply to any company with that particular field. If you have the knowledge, if you have skill set, I think no one is going to stop you that opportunity, because now the manpower is less. That I will not say the manpower, it's a skilled manpower. We don't have a skilled manpower at this point of time. We need to generate the skills. That is the first priority with any industry needs. If we have a right kind of skill set, right kind of, you can say, the knowledge, especially that field, definitely that job is for you.
So thank you, Mr. Vikrant. So like you mentioned, one need not necessarily, have an engineering background. Just one follow-up question from the audience here. Which branch of engineering would be, most apt, if there is any?
So there are two branches. One is the chemical science engineering. Second is the nano flexible electronics, and third is the mechatronics. So because this whole company and this whole infrastructure is being driven by the softwares. So definitely the computer science is the first priority, then electronics, and then is the mechatronics. These three are the major disciplines which will be required to fulfill the manpower gap to run this whole ecosystem. So I think we need to develop for this, especially if you are if we are engineering background students, because even troubleshooting of these vehicles, even working with the circuitry part, working with the software part. So this is completely which is non semi electronics kind of product which we will be needing. So I think definitely people need to aware about and there are some other courses also like sustainability, which no one is talking about, circularity. So I think these two are also the courses, the planning, the infrastructure planning. So these are the courses which we don't know, but I think if you step out of the India, so you will see that there are a lot of courses which are non-background, like infrastructure planning is also a very good concept, because you will be planning the ecosystem to build it. Second is, if you talk about in terms of the troubleshooting and the creating an ecosystem of service, so you will be needing that non-technical background also to build it. Third is the where I was talking about the sustainability part. There are a lot of courses which are related to the sustainable energy, because this whole EV system, Indian government and global countries are trying to build that this can be fulfilled by the renewable energy like solar energy. So solar energy is very well connected with the electric vehicle charging stations. So that is also one good, you can say, good opportunity for now young generation, if they can have something knowledge on the sustainable and circularity part, so that they can play a good role in creating a good infrastructure to provide your sustainable and renewable resources in terms of utilization of electric vehicles. So I think these are the wider disciplines which people should have at this point of time, and the demand of this, you can say, the skills will be very much required to fulfill the scale which this EV industry is having in terms of. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Vikrant. So, we have one question. Recently in the news, we saw that apparently large reserves of lithium have been found somewhere in Kashmir. So do you think that, what are your views on that?
Yeah. So definitely yesterday I was there in the conclave on the same thing, where the Ministry of Mines secretary was there and other people were there. So today it is being, I think you already aware about that, we found the world's second largest lithium mine in India, in Jammu and Kashmir, right? The problem right now is that only we have done two types of testing, G1, G2, where we have mapped that whole lithium based on some concentrations. Now the problem is that India don't have a technology to extract lithium from the mines. So there are three types of mines. One is the hard rock mines. Second is the brine kind of mines, where you have a water exhaustion. Third is the completely which you are finding in this waterways. This is a mine which is based on the hard rock mines. It is like a mountain kind of thing, right? The problem is that we need to still think about how the technologies, how it can be extracted. Second is that the lithium percentage which is there inside this, it is 800 ppm. That means in grams of lithium, right? So that is the viability of economics in extraction of the lithium from that mines is very, very much different. We need to, I think it will take at least some time. I cannot can say infrastructure to extract lithium from that kind of mine, right? So I think it will, to take a major clarity, I think it will take some time to have a clarity that whether it is feasible to extract lithium from that mine or not. That is also which is going to happen. Second is we have to also build the technologies to extract lithium from that kind of, right? That research, I think that research will also be continue to predict that how much lithium can be extracted that system, and whether that lithium will be usable for the electric vehicles or the other industry. The purity, the yield, and the efficiency of the whole extraction will be at that kind that can match your industry standards on. That is also still a question mark. So I think let's wait for some time to have a viewpoint of the government and the other archaeological or the metallurgists, so that we can get a better clarity that how it can be extracted a better, going future, whether the technology we have or not. So I think that is something which is still now. So it is being confirmed that this is which is more complex. It is being confirmed that this is not easy to extract lithium from this kind of mine. That is being already reflected. So now I think definitely a lot of players, foreign players, will take into the account to get into if they can have the technologies or they can share the technologies to extract the lithium from it.
All right, sir. So I think now we'll take up the last question for today, in interest of time. So, sir, how important do you think it is for individuals working in this space to have a strong understanding of sustainable energy practices?
Yeah, can you repeat? Just I missed your last 10
How
10 seconds.
important it is for individuals working in this space to have a strong understanding of sustainable energy practices,
Yeah. So I think it is a very good question, and I think if you have heard about the UN 2070 goals, so one term which was projected by them, that is called net zero, right? And that is something now it should become a mandate from my viewpoint that everyone should have a knowledge of sustainability and circularity, that how it can be achieved, because the resources which you are exploiting from the earth crust, they are limited, right? And they will end someday. For an example, if you take fossil fuels, right? Exactly the same is happening with the fossil fuels. The same will happen for the lithium or the other industries. So I think this, while working into the environment, while working in any industry, we need to get aware of the sustainability part, that the system which I am using, the product which I am going to consume, whether it's sustainable or not, whether that can be recycled or not. So I think recycling, reusing, and reducing, these three things are the major key takeaways which will come under the sustainability part. Because sustainability is not only we need to say that okay, we are going to recycle. Sustainability is the part where how you can reduce the mining, how you can reduce the exploitation of our earth crust. That is something, if you can get impact into that, then only it's something. Now I am coming towards the working standards when we are working in sustainability part, whether it's any part. So I think now let's suppose I am giving you an example. Before 2010, maximum of the extraction of these minerals are being done by the pyrometallurgy. So pyrometallurgy is the process where you heat your material at very high temperature to recover the material. But the problem was that there was a lot of emissions which was happening with that process. There are a lot of discharge of the solid material which you have to decompose into the landfills. Now sustainability means we need to build the processes where the, you can say, the emissions in terms of solid, liquid, gas should be minimized. That is the key takeaways. At least we can build the process so that the production which we are doing in terms of large scale, the emission we should not do. We should minimize the emissions. Second is the product which we are using, that need to be reused again, recycle or kind of structure. The material which we are going to use, that should be biodegradable, maximally where we can achieve for. And that understanding will only come once you will step inside to understand the circularity and sustainability part. Sustainability can also be there into processes, using of polythene and kind of structure into a process, into a system. That is also, that can be minimized, that kind of the sustainability part. There are, if we talk about the technical terms, so if you talk about technical sustainability, it is something solving a problem that can reduce the carbon footprint, especially to save our earth. So you can see the climate change, you can say the other impacts which is happening because of this. So I think now we need to shift into this to save our earth, especially, and this should be our habit also, to take care of the climate by doing our practices, whatever the sustainability which says. So you have a lot of courses you will get that how to get into the sustainability, how to make ourselves a sustainable part in our process.
Thank you for that, Mr. Vikrant. So with that, I think we have come to an end to this session. Thank you so much, Mr. Vikrant, once again for coming on a platform and addressing students, parents, and even career counselors. So before we end, I'd like to mention that we do this kind of webinar every week, Saturday at 5 p.m. right? So if you're interested, I have pasted the group invitation where you will get the updates on your WhatsApp. So you may join that. And if you're looking for any career guidance services, you can also contact iDream Career. So thank you to all of our audience and Mr. Vikrant. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and a good future towards. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.